Retiring with 2 million bucks. You're around 60 years old with about $2 million in retirement savings, and you're expecting about $4,400 a month in Social Security benefits. So how much can you comfortably spend in retirement? Is it even enough? These questions are exactly what we're going to answer today with one super important twist. I'm going to break down this retirement plan with you live on the exact same software that you can access for free from the link in the description below. That's right. So instead of wondering about if this applies to you, you can actually go and try it out for yourself. The goal of this channel is to help as many people as possible retire better than they could on their own, and that's exactly what we're going to do. In today's video, I will not only show you how much this client can comfortably spend, when to take Social Security, and if Roth conversions make sense or not, but you can use this video as a guide for using the software yourself so you know exactly what to do. Because after all, what good is a free, powerful retirement planning software if you don't know how to use it? So with that being said, let's dive in. Today, we're working with Greg and Sally James. And when we first get into our software here, this is exactly what we're going to see. We're going to get prompted to enter a bunch of information, and it's going to show up inside of your profile. And then this is what your dashboard is going to look like. And it's your snapshot. And the more info you put into the profile, the more accurate all of this information will be. The first thing we're going to do today is let's take a look at Greg and Sally's situation. So right here, we can see they've got about $2 million investments. They are broken up between $500,000 in a taxable investment account that is invested around 80% stocks, 20% bonds. We've got Greg's 401k valued at about $900,000 and Sally's 401k at about $600K. And so we're coming in around that $200,000 number. They do still have a mortgage here for about $180,000, but luckily they got it a few years back during COVID and all that, super low interest rates. And so they're not too worried about that. They're going to keep paying their mortgage as is. And their home is worth about $850,000. Let's click into goals here, and we can see that Greg and Sally's goal is to retire when they are 61. They're currently 60 years old. They want to be able to spend about $12,000 a month. And we have to factor for healthcare costs in retirement. This might be hard to believe, but when we add up the Medicare premiums, Medicare surcharges, if you got them, deductibles, copays, Medigap, Part D, out-of-pocket expenses, coinsurance, all that stuff, the national average for folks age 65 and older is $6,400 a year per person. So we need to assume this annual healthcare cost when we're doing our retirement planning starting at age 65 when Medicare kicks in. Forgetting about this expense is a big mistake. We have to make sure you cover this. Okay, this is their incomes as it stands today. Greg makes $200, Sally makes $125. Social Securities are coming in total between the two of them around that $4,400 a month sort of number. And when we come over to savings, they're doing some savings. Expenses right now, $12,000 a month. They want to try to maintain that. And the other thing that we need to look out for is their private health insurance. So right now they're through work. They're going to have right now 4 years of private health insurance. We have to factor for that. For two folks age 61, we're going to assume $1,000 a month in health insurance premium. So an extra $12,000 a year in medical expenses until Medicare kicks in. Now that we know what Greg and Sally's situation looks like, let's jump into the retirement planning module. All right, now that we've gone over Greg and Sally's basic situation, let's take a look at their retirement analysis as it stands today. So we click on the retirement tab at the top here. It's going to bring us to this page. And the first thing that we're going to see is a probability of success. Greg and Sally's probability of success right now, based on the information that we put in, is at 31%. Now, this doesn't mean that they can't retire. It just means the software is saying there's a 30% chance that they're going to run out of money by age 95. So it's a little bit longer than life expectancy actually is, but that's our baseline for retirement planning. That being said, we've got some options to see how we might be able to adjust this. And we don't need to get this to 100%. We really want to shoot for something more like 80%. That's the good baseline to go for when you're using this software. And I'll show you why. But if you click on this action items tab here at the bottom, we're going to come down and we're going to see this nice menu here that makes it so incredibly easy for you to play around with some of the most common and basic retirement planning modules and questions that we want answers to. And so first and foremost, let's take a look at Greg and Sally's retirement spending. They want to retire next year and they want to spend $12,000 a month because that's what they spend currently. Right now, that's at 31%. So one option is just to work longer. So if we bump this up, let's say Greg were to work for 2 years, what does that do for us? There's still only a 50% chance. So what that tells me is that if Greg and Sally want to retire and spend $12,000 a month next year, if they want to retire next year, then they probably need to think about adjusting what their monthly spending really looks like. So let's say that it's more like $10,000 a month instead of $12,000 a month. And fortunately, we talked to Greg and Sally about this and we reminded them that, hey, as soon as their mortgage drops off in a few years when they pay it off, it's going to go down to more like $10,000 a month instead of 12. So they were pretty happy about that and create a little flexibility. But we can see here just spending $10K a month versus $12K moves them from 30% chance to a 70% chance of success. And so this is a huge number here that really makes a big difference in financial planning. And I can tell you that this factor alone is going to make the single biggest difference of anything else that you play around with inside of this plan. We're at this pressure point of withdrawal rates on their money that really makes a difference. And so $10,000 a month is much more of a sweet spot for them. Now, what we're going to do, because this made such a big difference here, is we're going to come into the profile, we're going to go into their goals, and we're going to adjust this down to $10,000 a month, because this is going to give us a cleaner look at the impact of other decisions and factors that we can play around with inside of the software. So we're at our 69,000, and now we're assuming 10,000 a month at age 61. So they get to retire, but we got to cut back just a little bit. Maybe if the market does really well, they can juice that up some. Okay. The next biggest question that we want to address is Social Security. So does it make sense for them to delay until full retirement age 67, or should they start it a little bit earlier? Let's take a look. Looking at this, it is very clear that it does not make sense for Greg and Sally to start Social Security earlier than full retirement age. And part of this has to do with the way that their money is invested. Like we said, they're only at 70-30 allocations for most of their money. So Social Security is growing at a risk-free guaranteed rate of almost 7% from 62 to 67. And so the Social Security is kind of beating the potential returns from the investments over that time. And given where everything is in the world today, I think it's a good time to be conservative with your growth projections anyways. So for Greg and Sally, it makes sense to delay Social Security. Let's see if it makes sense to put it all the way to age 70. And so in this instance, it does. They get a little bit of an extra bump by just waiting, because from 67 to 70, it grows at 8% per year, guaranteed. So I know there's a lot of different opinions about when to take Social Security, but this financial planning software is very detailed. It can factor for everything. Ultimately, you're going to do planning on an annual basis. It's not a one-time event, but off the cuff, it says delay Social Security for right now. All right, let's jump over into our tax planning module and take a closer look at a couple other things. And let me get in here and let's put all this stuff back to zero. All right, now that we've played around with these numbers, let's set everything back to zero, and let's jump over to our tax planning module. You're going to click tax strategies, then we're going to come over here to comparison. And the first thing that we want to take a look at is our withdrawal sequence. So pro rata means that you're just taking evenly from each account. Now, we know that that is not the best way to go about doing our retirement planning. We can make very strategic moves. So let's check out and see what happens if we start with focusing just on that taxable account and then work our way to those retirement accounts. What sort of difference can that make? That change alone, just withdrawing and working those capital gains tax brackets before tapping into our retirement accounts, has adjusted their assets up by about $300,000 over the long term. So that's a good move in the right direction. Now, let's combine that with seeing if Roth conversions make sense for them or not. So, and the other thing that we can do, you can click here and you can see that the federal tax is paid. Not a huge difference, but hey, 80 grand less, we'll take it. Now, this is how easy it is to check your Roth conversion. So we come here, conversion target, our ordinary bracket, and let's say we know they're already going to be up there, so we got to use the 22% tax bracket. And we can see here that this actually moved them backwards. Okay, so it does not make sense for Greg and Sally to do Roth conversions. They were ending with almost $300,000 more by not doing Roth conversions. With Roth conversions, it ate up a chunk of their money and moved them backwards. And you can play around with this tool just like this. And we can come here and see federal taxes paid. So, federal taxes paid is less. That's great. But ultimately, what we're seeing here is that the money that went into Roth wasn't invested aggressively enough for it to make sense doing the Roth conversions in the first place. And that's an important point. A lot of people don't realize if you're not willing to do Roth conversions and reinvest the money somewhat aggressively for it to be able to outgrow the taxes that were paid, it's not always worth it. And then you can click over here into this details tab and you can see the conversion amounts that took place. You can come over here, click tax details. It'll show you total income, federal taxes paid, all of that good stuff. You can come back over here. We can turn these things off and on and adjust them so that you can come over here. And this just gives you so much information about taxes paid on your different financial planning scenarios. Then you can click back to the dashboard and there's some more things to play around with as well. But that's the big stuff. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. We do this stuff for you every single week. I'm going to keep doing these case studies with different total assets. So hit subscribe, you'll get the updates for the new videos. And don't forget, down in the description below, there's a link where you can access this software completely for free. There's no strings attached at all. Just click the link, take you there, create a login, you're good to go. And then you can come back and reference this video for exactly how to do the software and play around with it for yourself. Thanks so much again for joining us. We'll see you next time.